All right. All right. Welcome to the Dagnabbit Sex Ed episode.
Hello, welcome to the fastest talking podcast in the world. We're back today with the fastest episode in the world. Jake, how are you doing?
Are we doing that or are we doing sex ed? What's the theme?
Yeah, you wanted to do a sex ed theme for today?
Yeah.
So if you were teaching a sex ed class, how would you start? What would be the first thing?
I'd show a picture of some pornography and I'd have like a little pointer thing. I'd be like, kids, this is the pussy.
The pussy.
This is the pussy you've heard so much about.
And usually I guess we can start at the basics. Sex ed is usually taught around, I think, it starts in middle school and they might do a little refresher in high school. I feel like I had several sex ed courses that
were... No, I didn't.
You had none?
I maybe had it brought up once. It was maybe brought up once in middle school.
In school, you didn't have a portion of class that was taught by maybe a gym teacher or just your regular teacher where they talked about sex and all that?
Maybe once.
Did you really? I mean, you must have needed to have sex ed if you're in public school. I think you just don't remember.
Oh, maybe I didn't. I thought I had it. I think I had it in the health class in 7th grade.
I think that's when it would happen. So would you, if you were teaching sex ed, would you keep it at that age or would you go higher or lower?
Are you saying just keep it going?
Well,
or just do multiple? We do a refresher every year?
I'm saying this is a sex ed episode. You're saying what you would talk about in a sex ed class, but I'm saying before we even get to the class, we can restructure the whole thing.
Oh.
Do you think that's even the time to start? Or do you think we should start at preschool?
Oh,
or should we start
or
should we wait till kids are in graduate school?
I don't know, man. I feel like you do it in graduate school, they start telling the teachers some stuff.
Yeah.
With this liberal culture.
Yeah, the students might become the teachers.
Yeah, they do it in grad school. They're like, here's how you eat another person's shit. And the teacher's like, it's crazy with PC culture these days, making you eat people's poop.
Making you eat people's poop. I'm of the belief that we shouldn't teach sex ed till grad school. Because I think you should... Because if you don't teach sex ed, people won't have sex. That's the only way people find out about it. So if you don't tell them about it, then only the smartest people will be having sex.
That's a really good idea.
I think sex is a privilege. You don't get to learn about that shit till grad school.
You should have to have a sex license.
Which would also mean that guys like us would have no idea about sex. Which would be great because we're so uncharismatic and not unique.
Yeah.
And our knowledge of sex is more a burden than it really is an opportunity.
That is crazy. Yeah. You think about all the times you've had sex and then you verse it versus all the times you didn't have sex. Way more times.
It's so much more.
Yeah.
It's so much.
You know how many, I didn't have sex today. It's 2:30 p.m. Not had sex.
Ducks.
Have you had sex today?
No. I was thinking about,
Here's the thing, we haven't explained sex yet.
I do want to say one thing. Just because I was thinking about this, actually. I was thinking about, you know how, like, sometimes you'll hang out with a lady and, like, maybe there's a part of you that's like, this lady might want to hook up, but then there's also enough that's like, I don't really think so I'm not going to go for that, or I'm not going to initiate it, with even a polite question, and then you just go home and you don't fuck. And a lot of guys will go home and be like, oh, I'm such a pussy, I could have had sex. But, also, if you're ever feeling that way, you can also just remember you might have been completely correct that was a wrong idea. Like, a lot of guys will be like, oh, there's so many times I haven't closed the deal. It's like, that also could be a bunch of times you ruined a relationship.
Yeah.
Like, you could have been wrong all those times, too. Which I'm not saying you should live your life just thinking nobody would ever want to fuck you. But it is like, I think it's very easy for guys to be like, oh, she totally wanted to fuck. And it's like, you could very well be wrong, and you're totally in the right now. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of guys who just did everything right. Like, they just hung out with a lady who didn't want to fuck them and then went home. And then they're like, oh, she wanted to fuck.
They went home a non-sex criminal.
They went home to a normal guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, man, it's pretty good you didn't have some alpha male confidence that, like, forced you on a late, or not even forced, but it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of guys just like, they're just like, well, if there was any hint of opportunity, I wasted it. And it's like, no, that girl just felt comfortable around you. She didn't want to fuck you.
Damn. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
It's just so much.
The idea of a woman being comfortable around you. Women should be scared of you.
I mean, the thing with trying to, I think
this is sex ed, dude.
I think a good sex ed lesson is it is so much better to miss an opportunity than it is to go for one that was never there.
Let's play good cop, bad cop with the sex. I'm bad cop, you're good cop.
Okay.
All right, Cooper's taking the angle. You know, it's better to miss an opportunity than to make a woman uncomfortable. I'm taking the Wayne Gretzky take on it. You miss 100% of the shots. You miss 100% of the pussy you don't get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's also an argument to be made for just respectful participation in trying to get laid. You know what I mean? I don't think any woman on the world would ever say, I don't want men to ever ask me out again.
Yeah. Let's show that on the board. Family Feud.
Wait, so does that mean disrespectful initiation is on the board?
Disrespectful initiation?
Show me.
Number 1.
All right, so we got ways to get girls. Show me disrespectful initiation. Like a very clear-cut clinical way of describing inconsideration. Okay, so if we're doing a good cop, bad cop for a sex, I'd open up the class.
Yes, okay.
And I'd be like, okay, so in the basic sense, sex is our reproductive act and function.
Yeah, if you're a bitch.
Okay. Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, maybe you're gonna make some babies, but really, you fuck to have a good ass time.
Yeah.
You stick that hard shit in that wet shit, and then you make some wet shit out of your hard shit.
Yeah,
and that shit feels baller.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does feel baller. Definitely.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What do you have to say?
I mean,
Mr. Smiley.
I was trying
Mr. Smiley Face.
I also like that in the class you're trying to call me like a pussy for smiling too. You're also just teaching them like other weird sort of alpha rules, I guess. I also think it's cool that you're teaching kids that sex is for pleasure.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing to tell a bunch of middle schoolers, to be like, the best part about sex is the pleasure.
Yeah, all right. I'm Coach Scary, and this is Mr. Smiley Face.
Okay, so yeah.
That's our names
So
in this.
We've covered that sex is the reproductive function. It's how humans make children. It's how populations grow. Sex is also...
gay guys have it.
Gay guys do have it.
They're not trying to make babies.
They're not.
This homophobe over here is trying to say, if you're gay, you're not valid.
I don't think you can call me homophobic because I have not gotten to something yet. Did you think I would start sex ed with gay sex? You think I'd open up to the kids?
I think.
You think I'd start at the top and work backward to be like,
you think gay sex is the top?
You think the way
you're the opposite of a homophobe?
No, just in terms of concepts, in terms of subtleties and understanding, this
guy's trying to say gay sex is abstract.
I mean, compared to normal reproductive straight sex, it's not the norm. Gayness will always be a minority.
You think so?
I mean, I fucking hope so. Otherwise, we won't have a population. We need enough of you breeders so I can go out and fuck dudes. If you were fucking dudes too, the whole podcast falls apart.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Because then nobody's working.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting their goddamn job done. But
anyway, what were we about?
So yeah, sex can also be participated in recreationally, just for pleasure. That's most of the sex people have.
Mm-hmm.
The issues with that is you have to worry about accidentally having a child. You also have to worry about sexually transmitted infections. They used to be called
list them.
Chlamydia, gonorrhea, herpes, hepatitis. I guess various kinds of hepatitis. There's HIV, which can become AIDS. But monkeypox, I think.
How many of these have you had?
STI. None.
Do you guys really want to sit here and be taught to about STIs by a motherfucker who's never had a little bit of pus coming out of his penis?
In my health class, I had a teacher who had never done drugs or alcohol, and she was teaching us about drugs and alcohol, and she was like, just somebody that you're like, oh, you haven't done shit. And she was like a single middle-aged lesbian. So it also didn't seem like she was fucking a lot. She wasn't giving off like a I fuck a lot vibe either. Which by the time you're 17, you begin to ascertain that in people, whether or not you're really conscious of it. And yeah, we were just getting taught by a nerd. And it was really weird because it's just like, she had no argument for anything she was saying, because she was like, I've never done drugs or alcohol. And it's like, you're a high school gym teacher. You have nothing. You have no spouse. You have no money.
You should be doing this.
You have no legacy.
You should be doing heroin right now.
Well, it's just a thing of like, well, what did not doing heroin fucking get you? because you've done nothing with 100% of your brain. So what the fuck is this? Like, you might as well see what meth can do for you. Maybe you'd make up an invention.
I don't know, meth. If you're a lesbian, meth is pretty good.
But then
I've
again,
heard.
she's an educator, so it's like, there's pride in that.
No, there's not. That's why we're having to educate people on our podcast about sex.
Yeah. And then, other than that, I mean, if you're having sex for fun, it's a good idea to throw a condom on. You never will.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
you could
won't.
try. You can try to put on a condom, but you put that shit on, you're not even in. You're like, get this shit off of my ass.
I mean, truly in sex ed, they need to tell people that. Because when you first learn about condoms, you're like, oh, that's so cool. I'll use condoms. And I bet even using a condom will feel cool because I'm using a condom. And you are one of those guys that carries around a condom, which I think is one of the funniest things in the entire world, that you carry around a condom.
Yeah, last time I had
sex... I think
sex...
it's so weird that we hang out at a coffee shop at 3 p.m. and you have a condom on you. Just like anytime we've hung out, you've had a condom on you is
this
crazy to me.
This is what these look like.
What kind of condom even is it?
It's skin. I don't even know if that shit works anymore. That shit's been in my wallet.
I don't even...
It's been in my wallet for the last time I've had sex. Wait. No, actually... I didn't use a condom the last time I had sex.
Do you know
so even holding this has been for no reason.
You didn't even remember you had it.
I just never even considered using it.
Also in sex ed, they literally teach you not to do that.
Really?
It fucks up condoms after a while.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know where else I'm supposed to keep it. And also, I'm pretty well aware this one's not really working.
Yeah, but you gotta teach kids in sex ed.
Well, that's what I said.
You're gonna want to use a condom, and then a really hot person you want to fuck is gonna say you don't have to.
Yeah, they're gonna say that
and
because they have herpes. They want you to get it too, and I think that's an important thing for people to learn. 80% of the population has herpes.
What is it? 1 in 5?
4 in 5. It's crazy.
It's 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 people. And it's like, I don't know, man.
Well, have you heard
do you not want it?
Have you heard about Johnny Dogshit's new 5 out of 5 campaign?
He's trying to get the herpes level up to 110%.
He wants the herpes ratio to be 5 out of 5 by the year 2026.
Yeah.
Which is
5 out of 5 people on this podcast have herpes.
Yeah. We could get herpes for the podcast.
Yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
Every time you talk to a guy with herpes, he's always a skinny guy with a light beard, and he's a little solemn. And he's never a cool guy who's fucked a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys have herpes because they thought they were going to marry a woman with herpes, and then they didn't, so they just have herpes.
Yeah, what a fucked up, dumbass guy.
It does suck.
You don't be marrying women with herpes. You know what you do with women with herpes? You use them as drug mules to transport crack cocaine across the border.
Really?
That's what I use them for.
That's what you think?
That's what I use.
You don't do those things, man.
I don't know, man. I'm stuck in this character, the gym teacher who's cool as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, gym teachers don't do that. We had a gym teacher.
We did have a gym teacher that would use a woman with herpes in order to transport crack cocaine across the border.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not normal for gym. That's not a gym teacher thing.
This is the first time I'm learning that it's not.
Sometimes you bring up stuff about people you've met, and in my head I'm like, I hope Shane knows that was just that guy doing that.
I don't fully do. I don't fully know.
I think that's a lot of life. Yeah, it is kind of funny. Everybody's just approaching each other with completely different evidence and information. Where it's you have evidence for things that you see as completely part of the status quo.
Yeah.
And then other people are no, and that's just everybody talking to everybody at all times.
Yes.
You can't be too into your own evidence. I think the issue is when you get too into in your own theories and evidence.
Yeah, that is a problem that I have, and I have in particular, and you don't have, and it's only I have that though.
Okay.
I can't
you
remember.
Want to have this problem?
Yes. I do.
There's a guy I know that's too into his own evidence right now, and he's fighting a war on Instagram stories, just saying that he found the Holy Grail, and
Anyway, this has nothing to do with sex.
Yeah. So
So we talked about STIs. We talked about Cooper doesn't. Or wait, maybe we both have them 5 out of 5.
Yeah, and then for a period is what.
Oh, this is important. Listen to this one.
Every month, a woman's reproductive system goes through an ovulation cycle, and if you don't have a kid, what's going to happen is that your body is going to shed its uterine lining, which will come out in a bloody, chunky substances. Sometimes blood clots will come out. And
I want you to know that no matter how you feel or how you feel like the culture's telling you, what's happening to you is not bananas.
It is not bananas.
It's actually very normal.
And if you're a young person who's going through that right now, and maybe you don't have a parent that's really helping you out too much, just know that it is not. You're not monkey mode. It's completely normal. You're human mode. You're adult mode now, actually.
You're a woman now. You're a woman now.
It is considered the beginning stages, I guess, or the technical sexual maturity of a lady. You're able to have a kid now, so be careful about that.
Yeah.
There are 2 options in terms of maintenance.
You can't get pregnant off of a toilet seat.
You can't get pregnant off of a toilet seat. That's a lie. And you need, you're going to want to get a pad. That's a little less invasive, might be more comfortable, but you got to change them out. Or you can use a tampon.
Yeah.
And you may use that later in your life. Probably not when you start off. Also,
a lot of times you're going to feel gross having sex on your period because there's going to get blood all over your boyfriend's or just your consensual one-night stand's cock and maybe get some on his fucking balls and shit.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't feel ashamed of that.
But there are 2 really important things you should know about period sex, which is, first off, you can bust inside and you won't get pregnant.
Yeah.
Sperm can live inside of somebody's body for, I think, up to 4 days. Usually it'll die. But you don't want to have sex right before. Whenever your girlfriend is most horny is when her body would like you to have a child, and so you need to make her go on a hike into the woods. That's what most societies did.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much for thousands of years until modern society. They would banish women into the woods. And you don't have to
and
do
that's
that.
not okay.
And that's not okay, but, just have that in the back of your mind.
If that's just an idea on our part.
Yeah.
That it maybe, I don't know, probably don't, though.
Yeah. But yeah.
And if you have to fuck, in that situation, use a condom or use the very successful pull-out method, where you pull out your cock before you shoot wads of cum inside of her pussy.
And you can totally eat somebody out on their period.
Yes.
You just stay at the top, because that's really the only place you kind of need to be anyway. There's not a lot happening at the bottom. Most of what's happening at the bottom is a river of blood through the streets that you don't really need to be a part of and isn't going to make
unless that really turns you on.
If you're really into that,
if you want to be covered in blood, then that's like a perfect idea.
If you are really into being covered in blood, then period sex is going to be awesome. Period sex, one of the better sexes that mainstream society doesn't want you to know about. They don't want you to know that blood also makes the pussy wet. They don't want you to know that.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want you to know that. That's just a true thing that you'll find out in your life. And that's, it's an interesting thing to realize in the moment. And it doesn't make you a blood guy. I want to say that first off.
You might turn into a blood guy if you like it too much.
If you like it too much, you could be a blood guy. But regular guys are fine with period. You're not a blood guy if you like period sex.
You are a blood guy, though, if you want to cut your palm and drip it all over a woman's face while you're fucking her. That would make you a blood guy.
That would make you a blood guy.
Yes.
Don't do...
if you're not attempting to be a blood guy, then do not cut your partner and lick the blood off their face while you're deep dicking them.
If you saw the scene in Django Unchained where Leonardo DiCaprio cuts his hand, then rubs it on a slave woman's face and thought, I'd like to do that, but with sex, then you're a different kind of guy when it comes to sex, and you should be aware of that. And mostly you should be aware of it.
You shouldn't be ashamed.
Well, you shouldn't be ashamed, but you should also understand that most people are not going to be into that. And so consent is going to be even more than 100% important. It's 100% important for everybody, but if you're a blood guy, it's about 110% important.
So yeah, if you're a blood guy, keep it 110%.
If you're a blood guy, you can't have a woman just say yes. She needs to say, Thank God.
Yeah.
I've been searching my whole life for another blood guy. Let's get
And
bloody.
you do not fuck this up.
And you don't fuck that up, because that's the only person that's ever going to understand you. And if you're ever having lunch with her and you're like, oh, she chews so loud, shut up.
Yeah.
Okay?
If you say her feet look kind of weird, it's like, who cares?
Of course her feet look weird. She likes blood. Huh?
Should we talk to the pee guys too?
Yeah, pee guys.
Keep it like 105%. You're like not as crazy. Shit guy though, shit guy's probably got to keep it 200%.
Shit guy, you might be alone. You know what I mean? That might be a solo venture a lot of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're only going to find so many shit women, and there's
maybe 5 or 10 shit women in the country.
And those poop
but
ladies,
unfortunately,
unfortunately,
there's at least millions of shit guys.
Honestly, if you're a shit guy, it would be a little better to be gay.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I've never personally met a guy on Grindr that's looking for shit stuff, but I will say the arena of Grindr is a place where you could propose shit stuff, and people aren't going to be like, get out of here.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not necessarily going to happen. It's not a fetish app, but I will say, if you're asking a group of gay dudes if they're into shit stuff, the answer is probably not going to be yes, but pretty much 95% of them will say a little shit is not going to ruin my night, because a little shit is sometimes part of most gay sex. So
yeah,
so there's that.
You can have gay sex with women. You can fuck women up their asses,
and that is gay.
Yes, yes, it is gay. It feels good. I don't know. You have anything to say about anal sex?
Yeah,
you have to apply a lot of lube.
I've had not what I would. I've had what I would consider 3 of the 4 most basic types of anal sex. So I've had both kinds with a guy, and I've only had put my penis in a cis woman. I've never been strapped. And I have had sex with trans people anally. I've never been fucked by a trans person.
Okay,
so there's areas of the field I haven't touched. But I'd say more than most people, I've done research and development. And I will say, all the times that I fucked guys in the ass or got fucked by a guy, I felt totally fine about it. Nothing changed for me. But the nights that I had anal sex with a woman, I felt more ashamed. That's truly disgusting. That's gross. That's wrong.
Oh, wow.
Because when you're having sex with a man, you're already endowed with such sin. There's nothing you can do right. So the best thing you can do is the worst thing, which is put your penis in a man's ass, because it's the only place you can put your penis.
You can put it in their mouth.
Yeah, but you've already done that.
Yeah, okay.
So, but with
it's
woman,
kind of putting a hat on a hat.
But with a woman, you know, you look at a vagina, you look at God, and then you say no, and you go downwards to the devil, where her butthole is, and that's a true walking.
What do you find
away.
grosser having on your dick, women shit or men shit?
Anything involved with a woman.
No, okay.
No, I'd say men's.
Okay. Is it chunkier?
No, it's not a different shit. It's just a regular bias.
Oh.
Just thinking dudes are grosser.
Okay, interesting.
Women are so nice, even a woman's poop, you're like, I bet this is like better poop.
Yeah, you're like...
No, but, you know, in your head, you're like, this poop is less gross. It came from a nice, pretty girl.
Yeah, okay.
It's not regular poop, it's pretty girl poop.
Okay, now let's discuss pubes.
Pubes, I think they're back in style.
You think so?
I think full bald was more of up to... I think after 2010, especially after Obama got elected, I think people saw like hope, and I think people saw kind of being able to see each other really for their talents and stuff. Bushes I think bushes are back.
Okay.
Having more hair is back. I mean, there's definitely like, if you compare now versus 10 years ago, women are a lot more apt to let the legs grow and the armpits grow. And I think that implies that even if you see a lady with clean shaved legs and armpits, there's a higher chance of a bush. You know what I mean? Because if you see a bunch of women with hairy legs, there's probably a decent chance you see a bunch of women who probably have bushes that you don't know about.
Yeah, we're taking a poll on our website. Do you have a bush?
Yeah, if you're a lady with a bush, comment below. Tell us why you have the bush. If it's just
use at least 2 paragraphs in explanation.
I mean, I don't really need you to describe it so much visually.
Don't describe it.
I think you can just explain sort of what the bush does for you. I don't know.
It'll be very important for our viewers in order to understand this aspect of sex.
I always think it's interesting that we do have the concept of like, oh, you have a bush.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, now it seems like the norm would be to trim.
Yeah.
But it's like, I haven't really trimmed in a while. And then I look at my dick.
Oh, yeah.
and shit.
I've never shaved.
I look at my dick and shit and I'm like, this is what a normal penis looks like. Like, this is how my penis is supposed to look like. Like, it's supposed to have a bush around it. Like, this is what a penis should look. And then sometimes when you fully shave, you're like, yeah, this isn't what my penis is supposed to look like. So sometimes I feel like when people are like, ew, you're not trimmed. It is. I do feel that same feeling of just like, this is what people are supposed to look like. Like, it is interesting to me where I'm like, I find it fundamentally confusing that you can't be attracted to people with hair on their bodies.
But wait.
Because, like, that makes no sense. Like, there's no logic for you to not be attracted
I feel like
to people
have shaved for a very long time, though. If you look at it as, like, this is how people are supposed to look like. I mean, what about facial hair? All right. We're going to move on. What's some other...
Well, I was thinking. I don't know. I'm just thinking about... I mean, yeah, I guess a beard would be a natural state.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think also pubes, though, like, they limit smell of the crotch. And it can also kind of help the cleanliness because you don't have things just sitting on the skin. Like, they go in the hair and then you wash it off the hair and it sort of contains...
That's very true. If you ever have to have sex with the ground because you can't find any pussy,
yeah.
Pubes is perfect for that situation.
To have sex with the ground. It's better to have pubes. I mean, why are you shaving if you're just fucking the ground anyway?
I mean, if you fill up the ground with warm chili and fuck it, it's basically the same as having sex.
I feel like something is lost when a person is like completely pubeless because I think like the hottest things in sex are when you might see like a completely unshaven box and maybe part of your brain is like, oh, that doesn't look perfect. But then the other part of your brain is like, well, yeah, but that's why I'm sexually attracted to this. This is what a pussy is supposed to look like.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like dirty and wrong.
Well, no, but that's not what I'm trying to say. But you know, it is always weird to me when guys are like pussies taste bad or smell bad, and I'm like, no, they smell and taste exactly how they're supposed to. You're supposed to like that. Like you should like that. Like the weird thing of like, oh, it tastes like a body. It's gross. It's like that's why it's hot because it tastes like their body. You're like tasting a human and all their hormones and everything, and like that's what's hot.
What if you're a picky eater?
And then I think you're not a good partner.
Oh, yeah?
I'm always just confused by people who are like not into or like consider parts of sex gross, like hair or smells or taste. Because it's like, that is what you're doing, though. You know what I mean? Like, without all those natural that you could consider gross things, then it's like you want like a sanitized, like you want to fuck a baby? Like what want?
What about like, so if you just smelled sex, you would think it was gross though. If you smelled someone else having sex, you would think it was gross.
In this situation, am I told this is sex or am I just given
You can tell. Okay. Let's say somebody left a door open and they just had sex and you could smell it.
Do you know what I think my real response would be?
What?
I think it would like hit my brain and I'd be like, oh, that smells gross. But then I'd recognize that it was sex and I go, oh, but that's hot. I'd be like, oh, that's gross. Oh, but it's sex? Then that's cool. That's a good smell.
That's kind of that's almost kind of a porn idea that that's sex between two people at all. I don't know. I don't feel like that's not arousing.
You're saying it's weird?
I feel like it's weird.
I think the idea of sex.
No, I'm saying it's weird to smell two people you know having sex and be like, that's hot.
Oh, so I also am I'm close to these people, I guess?
Let's say it's in your apartment.
That's a weird part of the story.
You're in an apartment. You're in your apartment, a door's open.
Okay, so like if I was in my old apartment with our old friend Sam,
yeah,
my roommate, and I walked past his room and smelled sex, I'd be like, gross.
Yes.
But also in my head, I'd be like, but if I was Sam, I'd like that smell. You know what I mean? Like, you can recognize...
But you aren't.
That smell...
You're not Sam, though.
...is for somebody. I know, I'm just telling you how I would feel. I don't know why you're arguing my feelings.
I'm just trying to figure out... about...
It's the same as, like, if you had a friend that was a girl and she's like, oh, I think this guy's really hot. Like, you're not gay, but you could look at a picture of that guy and be like, I see what you get from that.
I feel like sometimes I don't.
I could smell your...
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Okay, that's fair, but, like... But if your friend showed you a hot guy, you'd be like, I get it.
Yeah, if it was a hot guy, but sometimes it's not a hot guy.
You don't ever see like a guy that one of your girlfriends is like into, and you're like, oh, I guess that would be hot to a lady, but not to me.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But not...
So I feel that way with smells.
Okay.
You're like, okay, I guess Shane must love that smell because he just had sex. I personally am not aroused by it, but I understand that.
What about the smell when you're done having sex?
I thought that was the whole question.
I thought the question was more about during sex. Because you're not eating pussy after sex.
Okay, well, in my head, I was walking past an open door.
Oh, wait. This is a different conversation, though. This is a different question. What about the smell after you've come? We haven't gotten into coming and then feeling ashamed yet. This is an important part of sex ed.
I think if you're having sex with somebody that you feel generally comfortable with and you like and you can stand to be around, then those terrible feelings about sex usually don't hit so hard.
Okay, but they still hit. And that's something very important for everybody to know.
What's hitting is just an evolutionary response to worry about outside danger.
Yes.
Because I remember, I forget the actual specifics of this, but after sex with women, it's like released a calming hormone. But with men is released like a fear, because you're supposed to turn around and see if there's a bear there. Because you think about evolutionary, like in terms of survival sense, the moment you're orgasming is probably your most vulnerable state. Because first off, you're laying down, you're inside of somebody, you're naked, so just physically, you're not really ready to fight. And also, your entire body is devoted towards that. But actually, it's not. This is what I remembered. When you're orgasming, the male brain, only a small part of our brain is really having that orgasm. The other part of the brain is all like worried with surveillance. And women use like a vastly larger portion of their brain to enjoy sex because they just haven't evolutionarily been trained to be like the bodyguard of the situation. So guys, when you come, you have a fear that somebody's going to kill you. And then once you come, you're just kind of left with just that and the residuals of that fear.
So if you're a woman watching this, you can kind of just toned out a bunch of what we just said. This is mostly important to the guys.
No, it's really important to both sides because it's important to understand how your partner might feel after sex and to not take a certain sense of distance as a personal feeling.
Yes.
And a lot of times, this is, I mean, in most interactions, it's rarely a truly personal act. Rarely are you like, I don't like you specifically. It's like, no, because of some hormone that's released in my brain because of evolution or because of something that happened to you as a kid or because of some sexual experience when you first grown into a sexual person or something like that's mostly what will happen in sex. And that's how people get offended in sex. So like, oh, he couldn't get hard with me. It's like, well, because you have red hair and his aunt who died has red hair or something. You know what I mean? Who knows? There's a million different fucking things.
Yeah. You're a burn victim and he's really scared of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. I mean, really the biggest lesson in sex ed is that anybody you're having sex with is just full of fear and hopelessness. And so if you ever feel like, oh, she didn't like me because my dick, nobody cares about your dick.
Some people might,
but nobody really cares about your dick that much. They're worried about everything that happened to them and that they had to go through. So
yeah,
that's important.
I feel like this is an important thing for people to hear. What other aspects of sex haven't we covered?
I think the first time you have sex, and this goes with the point I just made.
Yes.
Don't try and fuck like a porn star.
Yeah.
Because a lot of bad things happen to young people. And the person you're having sex with might have already had a forced sexual interaction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, their first sexual interaction might have been a rape or a sexual assault. So don't go in there being like, I'm going to fuck the shit out of this person, because that you might trigger something awful. Or less than that, there's really just no sense of safety or comfortability. What you should do as a young person who's having sex for the first time is go real slow, ask a lot of questions, because you're probably going to come faster than you want to.
Or you won't come at all.
So there's no reason to try and hurry the process. Take a lot of time. Ask a lot of questions. You know, I guess best case scenario, you're, as a young person, having sex with another person who hasn't had sex. That'll probably make you feel better. It's always a little tough when the person you're fucking has fucked before. Then again, if they have, that's not the worst. But ask questions. Don't think you're good at it. And even as an adult, don't ever start thinking you're good at sex. At no point. You know? I'm 25. I'm definitely not supposed to think I'm good at sex, but I also shouldn't think I'm good at it when I'm 35, because you meet 35-year-olds who think they're old enough to say they're good at sex.
Yeah.
And those guys suck. Those guys suck a lot, because they're like, I'll eat pussy for 5 hours. And it's like, I think if you're eating pussy good, you don't need to do it for 5 hours.
Yeah, you should. If you're good at eating pussy, you should only have to do it for like 30 seconds.
For like 30 seconds. Here's how you know you're good at eating pussy: is you eat it for 30 seconds, and then the girl you're with goes, okay, that's enough. That's how you know you really just...
Yeah. If you're fucking good, she's gonna go stop at around 20 seconds.
You just
30 seconds.
You just sent that bitch to the stratosphere. Okay? If you really ate that pussy good, she's gonna say that's fine, and then she's gonna roll over and not talk to you, and you'll say, are you okay? And she'll say, I'm fine. That's how you know.
That means she's come so hard. She's somewhere else. She's motherfucking woman's mind's in France right now.
Yeah. Also,
if you're fucking a girl for 15 minutes and she's like, can you just roll over and finish yourself off? Then that means that you just fucking won the pussy lottery.
That means you're fucking so good, nobody can compete with you. Yeah, also a thing just for young men and young lesbians, after a woman comes, she's going to want to cuddle you, and she's going to be, temperature-wise, the hottest thing you've ever been around. And
even hotter than the sun. If you've ever been around the sun, you probably have not.
If you ever want to know if a woman's come, just check if she is hotter than the sun. And
try cooking a hot dog on her. If you can successfully cook a hot dog on her, she has come.
I think truly, if you have sex with a woman and then you hold her after and she's not very hot, I don't think she came. As far as I can tell,
you have to put oven gloves on.
I think when a woman comes, they reach a temperature
oven mitts
of like 8,000 degrees. It's enough to like start a nuclear reactor. And
if you threw a glass of water near her, it would evaporate immediately.
Yeah, and what you gotta let them lay their very hot head and body on your shoulder and side of your body, because if you go, this is too hot, I don't like this, and you roll over, you just fuck that person up.
Yeah,
especially if that's the first time you have sex. Just so you know, if you do that and you just make them lay there alone, you just fuck somebody up forever, and they're not going to be fun to fuck at all.
They're never going to be the same again.
What you need to do when you have sex,
they will be alone until they are 75 years old.
Here's honestly, man or woman or anything, the first time you have sex, just remember it's really not about you, because whatever you do is pretty much going to determine how that person's probably going to fuck for most of the rest of their life. So whatever side you're on, after you have sex with that person, just look at them and go, man, that was so good. You're awesome at this.
Yeah.
And you're really great to be around, and you make me feel safe. And then just hug them tight for, I would say, at least 5 minutes, which is going to seem like 10, but that'll be long enough.
If you're a woman, if you're a woman though, you need to tell your man after sex, you're like, you made me feel in danger, but also comfortable and safe. But say you were very scary while having sex.
I don't think we should promote scary. I don't think we should promote scariness. No, I think if you're a woman,
you just have to lie to a man and say he's scary.
If you're a woman, after you have sex with a young man, you should look at him and go, "That was so awesome. My favorite part was all the times you asked if I was okay."
Yeah,
and then he'll go, "Oh, that was cool. And then next time he's with a lady, he'll be like, I'm going to do my Mac Daddy shit. And he'll think he's being a baller, but really he's just asking for consent a bunch and being a generally considerate partner.
Okay.
We need to make guys think that asking questions like that is actually baller. Just to be like, can I be in this bitch right now? Can I be in this shit?
Okay.
Oh, and also, and you'll know this, make sure you hide your rhymes before you have sex.
This is one of the most important things.
Always hide your rhymes.
A woman might seem like she wants to have sex with you for you, but in actuality, very well might be Bugs Bunny dressed up as a woman and who's plotting to steal your rhyme book.
Yeah.
And what sucks about that, a lot of people, Bugs Bunny has name recognition. So if he steals your rhymes and you try to come after him, they'll be like, it's a guy trying to chase Bugs Bunny's clout.
Yeah, who are we going to believe? You or Bugs Bunny?
Yeah.
So think about that. So what you want to do, I know we talked about how cuddling is important after sex to make your partner, especially women, feel safe and loved. What's really important is after you have sex, you want to pop up real quick.
Yeah.
You want to pop up, you want to stand up, and you want to go, where are my rhymes? And go to wherever you hid the rhymes. Make sure they're there.
I would recommend you check, you would hide them inside, if you're having sex with a woman, to hide them inside of your asshole. Women would not be able to hide it, put it right next to your prostate, so a woman will have her hands nowhere near it.
Yeah.
Or you could hide it in a copy of Man magazine.
I was thinking about how funny it is when straight women are like, "Oh, guys need to explore like their feminine side and get pegged." I explore, my like lesbian side. Why can't guys do it? And it's like, well, because you exploring your lesbian side, that means you get to like suck tits.
Yeah.
That's awesome. For a straight guy, you're asking him to get fucked in the ass. Like, that's so much more. It's so funny when like straight women are like, why don't like guys want to do that? And it's like, it's the most insane fucking ask for like a normal sexual guy to be like, yeah, do you want this completely new, scary, somewhat painful feeling that like...
Yes, with an object that is not connected to my body.
Yeah, also, yeah. I think there's really...
I have this lifeless thing I'm going to stick inside of your ass.
Yeah, there's also that. You know what I mean? It's like...
It's going to feel cold like death.
I think if you actually broke it down, more men would prefer to have another guy fuck him than a lady. Because they're just like, well, what are you even doing back there? Just thinking I'm a loser? That's honestly, even as a guy...
It's like, she's like, I tricked this guy into letting me fuck his ass with what feels like a corpse stick.
That's kind of how I feel about pegging, frankly. Like, I kind of feel like when two guys fuck each other, it's just kind of boys getting together being like, this is awesome, But I feel like when a lady fucks you, she's like, this is for the witches you didn't burn. And it's like a whole, I don't know, it does scare me. Like, even as a guy who's...
I think there are like strap-on type devices that are kind of like, they're fucking the woman while they're fucking you.
Yeah, I have, like a better version of a double-ended dildo.
Yeah.
I've heard about that. That's got to feel odd for a lady, though.
It definitely does.
To thrust forward, but then to feel the thing of getting fucked. I feel like that just doesn't feel good because the fun of getting fucked is getting fucked. It's not just like the feeling happening inside of you. It's like the whole action of like, this person's fucking me.
All right. Well, we should talk about rough sex.
Yeah. Rough sex. It's going to be a lot more of the sex you have than you think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Here's the thing about sex ed. Two things that are confusing. You think you're going to use condoms and you never do. And you don't think that you're going to perform as much rough sex as you do, and you do.
You think you think your sex is going to be a lot more romantic than is.
You think you're going to have like normal condom on sex. You're going to have a lot of raw leashed sex.
Yeah. A lot of sex where you have to straight up spit in somebody's mouth while you're choking them. It's a lot more of that than you think. And
it's like this interesting thing where kind of in the middle of the act, you ask yourself, do I like this? And within a split second later, you've answered yes. And you start to wonder about that.
And then you think maybe that you're like a bad guy. You start to think, because I like hitting women while fucking them.
But then you think about it and you go, wait, she asked me to do all this.
She was trying to trick me.
I think most guys you talk to in terms of the rough sex they've had, if you talk to them, I think most of the time they're not the ones initiating it.
I don't think they are.
Yeah. Because, like, all the rough sex I've had, I've never thought I'd be, like, a rough sex guy, but then, like, girls have just wanted it. And then I found out that I was pretty... I'm not going to say good, but I felt like I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm, like, into this. I'm, like, a guy that can be good at this.
Yeah, okay.
Rough sex is also embarrassing, though. Because, like, I'm 5'9", 140, and, like, literally nobody respects me for anything I've ever done. Like, literally, I have no respect in any field in my entire life. But then, like, in rough sex, you have to look at somebody and be like, you're pathetic.
Yeah.
And it's like, I literally am one of the most pathetic people I know.
Yeah.
So it's like,
well, during rough
like,
sex, they're calling you daddy and acting like you're a fucking football player or some shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're not.
But you have to remember, you're not coming to a reality. You're coming to a fantasy you're creating. And so you're not...
So you might as well not even be...
So it's not stupid.
You might as well be jacking off because it's all fake.
It's not stupid. It's not fake because it is fake. You know what I mean?
It is fake.
You can't fake a fake.
Yeah.
You're just doing a fantasy. So if you're ever like getting into a bit of a character or something with the rough sex or whatever, and you're kind of going for it and you're saying stuff you don't usually say, don't look at yourself and say, this isn't who I am, because it's really not who anybody is. You are entering that state of mind because it's what helps your partner come. And at the end of the day,
well, truly,
rough sex, these are all cheat codes to just making somebody come.
Is truly anything, is any way you act real?
Exactly. So at that point,
it's like at that point you might as well be like, I'm Mr. Fistfight and I'm gonna fuck you.
The best case scenario in sex is you have crazy rough sex and you act like somebody you're completely not, and by the end, both you and your partner have cummed, and then you snap out of it and you're like, what the fuck was that? And you feel a sense of shame, but the sense of shame is actually lessened by the person you're with, because you go, oh, we just did that. That's what that was. Mm-hmm. That was us being silly.
Yeah.
And really,
it's very funny. It's very funny. And then you go and you watch the Rugrats Go to Paris.
Truly.
While cuddling.
That is when you have like good rough sex. You don't have good rough sex with people you don't know, people you just met, because you need a lot of cooperation and trust. So oftentimes you have rough sex with somebody that's like your partner that you really love. Because you have that trust and connection.
Those are the people you're putting a gun up against their head.
I mean, truly, the sex you'll have that's closest to porn is probably going to be with your greatest relationships and partners. Because sex requires so much trust. A lot of people think that crazy wild sex happens with people who don't love each other, and that's true. But, sometimes there's an agreement that can come with the anonymity of it. But most of the time, for consistent, good, rough, crazy sex, it's going to be with your girlfriend. Yeah,
I mean, if you want to be having sex and then pour a pot of hot coffee on somebody, that's going to have to be your wife or girlfriend or husband or boyfriend. Or... If
you think about it, like rough and crazy sex is not necessary for casual sex, because the fun and the wildness is because it's new.
Yeah.
So you don't really need...
And it's not healthy.
And it's not healthy, and it's bad for you, and you're a bad person. So
it's spiritually wrong.
You don't need a leash to really make the situation exciting, because you're like, I just met this woman in a bar. This is exciting. You need the leash when you've been with somebody for 4 months, and you're like, okay, well, tonight you're not my girlfriend anymore. You're a slave. And then you do that, and then you make
Poochie from The Simpsons,
and you make your girlfriend build iPhones in the corner of your room like a slave.
And you build a suicide net outside of your apartment,
and then
so
at one point
escape.
You piss on her, and I guess that's just coming now.
Yeah. Let's talk about polyamory. It's not true. It's fake.
It's not a real thing. Everybody who does it is really mad.
And they're just kind of, they're dorks. Like, you kind of have to be a dork to be like, I'm going to get on an app and find a bunch of people. It's crazy.
What I don't like about it, and I think the issue with its selling point, is that they approach a topic such as sex and love and monogamy and relationships, and they try and go, hey, doesn't this suck? And everybody's like, no. And then they're like, it sucks. And then they just try and make sex better. And you're like, no, man, sex is good enough.
Yeah.
Like, sex is good enough. Monogamous sex is good enough. It's also like so much more exciting to be attracted to one person for a long time.
Exactly.
Than it is to be like, I've fucked a bunch of people over 30.
I fucked 10 different people, and my girlfriend fucked 15 different people.
Like, there's a comic at the store. It's Greg Fitzsimmons. He's a famous comic. He just has a part in his joke. This isn't telling his joke or anything. He just has a part in his joke where he's talking about his wife, how they're both in their 50s. And he's like, I'm insanely attracted to my wife. I I still want to have sex with her all the time, and I flirt with her all the time. And it's like, I look at that guy, and I'm like, what he did is what everybody in the world should want, because it's the simplest, best answer for the human brain of like, thank God I'm 50 and I want to fuck my 50-year-old wife.
Yes.
This is perfect. There is no better sex you can have at the age of 50 than sex with your 50-year-old wife.
Until she dies, then you get to go to the old folks' home, which is a fuck fest.
And then you get to fuck. You get to get your dick sucked as an 80-year-old.
Yeah. If you're an 80-year-old man in the nursing home, welcome to Pussy Olympics.
And, you know...
And if you have a working brain, you don't got fucking dementia or Alzheimer's, you're going to be slanging dick.
Yeah. And if you do have
you're going to be able
to...
You know how you can titty fuck? You get to titty fuck any part of their body. Because it's like you just grab it and mush it together and then fuck it.
What about a guy who's been in an old folks home for a while, meeting a guy with dementia, and he's like, oh, you gonna be my bitch. It's like prison, where he's like, oh man, if you was...
They're holding each other's pockets.
Oh, if you was in Shady Meadows, you'd be holding my pocket. And it's like, oh my God, that's what it's like in there? Yeah, you get bitched out quick. You get bit, and it's like the guy used to run a Fortune 500 company, but now he has dementia and he's getting fucked by some guy. That would suck.
He's getting fucked by some tall Irish dude, because that's who fuck in that accident. That was an Irish dude.
Yeah, I think it's pretty funny when polyamorous people act like what they're doing is the harder, smarter option, and it's like, no, the harder thing that I think takes a lot of growth and change and subtlety and really thinking is maintaining a successful monogamous relationship. Like when Greg is up there being like, I really want to fuck my 58-year-old wife, it's like, yeah, you've really like done the right work on yourself, to your mind to mature with your body, and for you to not be like a person in conflict. Because if he was like a really immature, unrealized person, he'd be like, oh God, I want to fuck a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's a guy who's went through his life and realized that certain things happen for certain reasons, and go, no, you fuck your 50-year-old wife because after you fuck her, you still have a loving 50-year-old wife, and you don't have to go, what did I just do?
Yeah.
You know, you can call your friend and go, hey man, I just fucked my 50-year-old wife, and he'll go, good job, you did the right thing. You know?
One of our friends, I'm not going to say his name, it made me laugh so hard because he was bragging, like, hey man, I got laid with my wife last night.
He was like actually bragging about it?
Yeah.
Well, that becomes a thing because of, I mean, I don't, obviously we didn't experience it, but married guys always talk about how sometimes the spark goes out and then you got to fuck your wife the same as if she's not even your wife.
Yeah.
But sometimes maybe the spark going out is what reignites the spark itself. Because once your wife is a little bored of you, then that's kind of exciting. It's like, dude, you get to like...
Well, what happens
you
is...
get to flirt with your wife again. You get to try and make your wife want to fuck you again.
Well, this is an important part to any long-going relationship. And this is going to happen to everyone watching this that is a man. It's going to happen to most women that are watching this that's a man. So you're going to be married for about 15 years. And the woman, she's going to meet a hot fucking 26-year-old guy. And she's going to have a fucking fuck ton of sex. His dick is going to be way bigger than her husband, and he's going to fuck him a lot. She's going to get completely away with it. Completely away with it. The guy will never find out. And also, he's never going to have sex with a younger woman. And his wife, that turns her on so much that she got away with it and that she can do this whenever she wants, that the spark starts again. And that's just what's going to happen to everybody who gets married in here. If you're a man or a woman.
Isn't that just a absolutely chilling fear? I mean, God, if what you described is not a living hell, I don't know what is.
Well, she wants to fuck some more, dude, because she got fucking long dick fucked.
Imagine
like guy whose dick is like maybe 2 times bigger than your fucking dick.
Imagine you think your marriage is just in a good spot. As it totally could be naturally, but it's only because your wife betrayed the entire agreement.
Well, one time you'll have sex with her, and it'll feel wetter than usual. Be like, hell yeah, but actually she let the guy come inside of her, so your dick is covered in that guy's cum. And I mean, when she breaks off with him, I mean, you'll never find out that this happened.
Have you ever kissed a girl you've been with and worried that her lips taste like dick?
Oh, like after sucking my dick, or
no? I have. But then I had that fear, and then I And then I would like feel it enough that I was like, I think I'm just making this up. Or she's sucking dick every single time I see her, and this lady constantly has dick on her lips.
But yeah, most likely she only had dick on her lips like half of the times you kissed her.
Right.
I have a friend.
No, I don't think I've been cheated on.
I have a friend who said he's never kissed a girl because he doesn't kiss women because he doesn't trust them to have just got done sucking dick.
Yikes. I mean, gosh. What a terrible way to live. You know what I mean?
It's a hilarious way to live.
You know, we talk about the difference of California to the rest of the United States. And I watched a video on it before our episode today. And I found out one small thing I'd like to share, which is that when California was made a state, it was actually not connected to any of the United States. The closest state to it was Texas, which, as we know, is still thousands of miles away. And there were no roads or railroads going to California, so the only way people really got there from other parts of the country was to sail around the entire continent. So California, for like the first 2 decades of its statehood, before there were railroads and like things that can actually transport, it was a completely isolated island-type state. Which I think has led to its sort of otherness in the nation. And then,
when was it made? Like, I feel like it was around during the Civil War, wasn't it?
I feel like it might have been 1847, but I don't know.
I'll look that up after the episode's
Look
done.
it up right now.
No, because we have a sex ed episode going on.
Right. I'm sorry. I didn't want to get into California.
Yeah. But, okay. So what have we not talked about? We talked about how it's inevitable that, like, when you're 50, your wife is going to cheat on you with a 26-year-old mailman.
The blue waffle is real and common. So if you've heard of the...
I'm laughing because it's so relatable, because Cooper's so right.
If you don't know what the blue waffle is... It was pretty big when me and Shane were in middle school, but the blue...
It was maybe the most popular image on the internet.
The blue waffle is a very real sexually transmitted disease, which results in a grid-like pattern across the skin and labia majora and minora of the pussy. And
you get it from being polyamorous.
Yeah, so it's a grid-like pattern, and it also turns the skin and I guess some of the juices a bluish green. So you have a grid and a blue, which is then referred to as a blue waffle.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say about 60 to 75% of the women I've had sex with have had an active blue waffle.
That's why you enjoy the smell so much.
Yeah. And so that's just a really common thing. Also, if for gay men, anybody that's going to be having sex with penises, what's it called? A Prince Henry, the Sir? What's it called?
yeah, Prince Henry. Yes,
that's what it's called. The Prince Henry, the penis piercing at the tip of the penis.
Yes, sir.
That is also very common.
If you're like watching this, you're like a 15-year-old girl, whatever our target audience is. A lot of times, men will ask you to yank on their Prince Albert.
Yeah,
yank on it, and apparently that feels very good. So if you encounter Prince Albert in the wild, yank on it without asking.
Kind of like, you know how most guys in the UK have uncircumcised penis? Most men in America have a Prince Albert.
Yes. That's what we did to get rid of, we got rid of our foreskins so we could have a Prince Albert.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Americans drive on the other side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that.
Yeah.
It's for the same reason.
Let's see. Prolapsed anuses, when you're having anal sex, there's very common when the asshole fall out of its socket.
That happens every time?
Yes.
It actually happens every time.
I had a prolapsed anus land on my penis, and I had to pull it off like a condom, and then it's kind of sucked the condom into the asshole.
Dude, I saw a guy on Grindr. He had a Twitter link on his page and went to his Twitter. This guy was putting the widest things up the widest. He had a dildo. I don't even know if you can call it a dildo. It's really a statue. It was about 4 to 5 feet tall. It looked like a tentacle. At its base, it was about 9 inches at least across. And this motherfucker sat on the whole thing.
Wow.
And then he would post pictures of his asshole that was like completely gaped and prolapsed and truly just look like a medical emergency.
Yeah.
But it's like something that people post that people are into. That like he was posting it like some of you guys are into this. And I just imagine like what a weird guy to hit up and be like, "Hey, can I have sex with you? Can I have sex with your asshole that is like
not
3 times the width of my cock?" It's also not even like how it's going to feel for me. It's like, well, how's that even going to, what am I even doing trying to make you come?
Yeah.
With my normal dick. You're using stuff that doesn't exist in nature.
Well, he's probably trying to get like viewers for his like porn stuff. Most likely.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
That's probably why he's using Grindr, not to have
you
sex.
realize that eventually with prolapsed assholes, you get to a point where you either have to have a stoma bag where you can't shit anymore, or like, you have to wear diapers.
And then the guy's going to be like, the stoma's getting fucked.
I mean, it's like, listen,
you're that guy, your stoma's getting
You're going to be hot in your 20s, or you're going to be the best you look in your 20s no matter what. What you want to worry about is being somewhat presentable in your 50s. So you're already going to be grosser in your 50s. The last thing you want is like, hey, you know how I'm normal gross? Well, also I wear a diaper and my asshole's falling out of my body. You got to explain that to like old people now,
especially when you're in the old folks home and you're trying to fuck everybody.
You can explain that to a 20-year-old. They'll be like, whatever.
Yeah.
But like a 50-year-old, they're like, oh, I don't really want to marry somebody whose asshole's falling out of their body. You know?
And if they do, that's a problem.
You dealing with a freak. You got a freak on your hands.
So is there anything we haven't covered?
You should, any rumor you ever hear about the body part of like a certain race and the color, shape, or size or width of that body part, it's usually not true.
Okay.
And you should just have sex with those people. And
and you shouldn't be afraid.
You're probably just being a child racist. You're being a racist child.
Yeah.
So definitely have like any person of any race.
The balls are important. The balls are very important sometimes. If you squeeze the balls at the right time when they're coming, it'll squirt right out.
People are going to like your balls a lot more than you might expect also.
People are going to want to lick them.
People are going to want them in their mouth. They're going to want to use them as a tool for humiliation.
Sometimes you'll enjoy like the lick on your urethra. I'm not I don't personally enjoy urethral anything like tongue or I don't enjoy it. But I don't.
That's
I just
where your
don't.
male clit is. It's up there.
It's not enjoyable for me. I don't like that.
What do you mean? How do you come?
What do you mean? I don't like people like licking it.
Like the underside of the tip of your penis is where the nerves.
It's too sensitive.
Yeah, but that's where you come. That's the part that makes you come.
But I'm just saying I don't enjoy it I don't enjoy it being messed with.
All right.
But some people will enjoy it.
Well, if you're watching this and you end up having sex with Shane one day, don't lick the tip of his penis. He only likes deep throating. It's kind of what you're getting at.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, you really you're purely deep throat.
Let's see. We talked about oral sex, anal sex.
If you're given head, the amount of people who will just give a toothy blowjob, and it's mostly because they think the goal is to be aggressive.
Yeah.
It's really easy to not have your teeth involved, and a lot of people can't do it. So just think about that. It's a lip action. Think about what the other person's feeling, what the sum total of your tiny movements are. Stop with the teeth, okay? Cover them up. Figure it out. Slow down. First off, you're probably going too fast. That's why those teeth are getting in the way. You got to slow down. Chill out. There's a lot of people, especially on Grindr, who think they're great at sucking dick.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you're going to love this. Then you go over and they're like, and you're like, I mean, it's loud and it's aggressive, and on
there's spit everywhere.
On a screen, it might look nice.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, you're scratching me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just scratched right now. Like, I don't know. I had sex with someone not too long ago, and after I was like, a lot of that sex just kind of hurt my penis.
Yeah. Let's see. Multiple orgasms are very real.
Once a lady comes, she's even more ready to come again.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about with really taking your time.
Yes.
So once again, the goal is not to make a lady come. It's to make that lady come as much as you possibly can.
6-7 times even.
That is what is remembered. But yeah, once again, the first come is the hardest come. Also, remember, when a woman says, I'm going to come, she's not going to come. You're going to have to fuck that lady or keep doing whatever you're doing. Don't stop doing what you're doing for at least a true 3 more minutes. Like a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 more minutes. The problem is when she says, I'm going to come, your dick, you're going to come. You're just going to. So recognize that. Maybe it's fine to pull out and take a break. Nobody's ever necessarily minded a little break. When you're on that break, don't think that you're useless now just because your penis isn't in her. You can eat her out. You can finger her. You can rub on the outside of the pussy. You can rub on the outside of the pussy and finger her at the same time. Also, most importantly, nobody talks about this. The clit is in several different places. It's a larger organ than people realize. It's not just on the outside. If you finger a lady and immediately when you go in, if you touch the top of the roof, you'll feel a little oval, squishy thing that feels like a tiny sea anemone. That is also the clit. So you can rub the clit from the outside and the inside at the same time. And that inside clit is where a lot of cool stimulation is going to come from. And it's very recognizable. It doesn't feel like the rest of the pussy, but it's right when you go in. It's just at the top. And that's what a lot of ladies feeling when you're putting your dick in her is that's a big area of pleasure. The rest of it is more a warehouse for lies and deceit.
Anyway, I feel like we can end on that because I've just been thinking about using the bathroom for like the last 2 minutes and been zoned out.
Okay. Well,
yeah. Okay.
Right. Hopefully everything we've said will help you make people come.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hope everybody enjoyed their lesson for today. That's about it. And if you leave a nice comment, we'll come to your house and we'll kill you.
Thanks so much for coming to the Fastest Talking Podcast in the world. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much.